call the board meeting to order. Please stand as Lori Metro gives the invocation and Trustee Beck leads the pledge.
Please bow your heads. Dear Lord, tonight we honor Chief Steve Pearson, servant for 30 years as a firefighter in this village. We thank him for the safety he provided for our residents. Teach us to be more like him. Teach us to be generous. Teach us to serve as we should, to give and not count the cost, to fight and not heed the wounds, to toil and not seek for rest, to labor and not ask for reward. In Christ's name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the clerk please take the roll?
Mayor Strickland?
Here.
Trustees Boland?
Here.
Hammond? Here. Johnson's absent. Gentry?
Here.
Yo?
Here.
Beck?
Here.
Clerk is present. The attorney is present.
We have a quorum. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
So made.
Do I hear a second? Motion made, motion seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The minutes have been approved. Next, we go to Treasurer Steve Johnson's report.
Thank you, Your Honor. This week's Treasurer's Report reflects what the village received in MFT funds of $47,528.07 and the road funds of $224,601.77. I would personally like to thank Michelle for her help in lowering the service charges that the village has incurred in its operational accounts at Harris Bank. Shows how hard she's been working at it, and it's really helped keep the bottom line for the village. And this shows exactly how the administration office keeps the costs down for the village by hard work by all staff members. The total of all funds this evening is $6,008,546.83. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you, Steve. I entertain a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
So made. Second.
Motion made, motion seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Treasurer's report has been accepted. Communications by Clerk Lori Mitchell.
Thank you, Your Honor. Couple things this evening. The village has received a communique from Comcast Communications announcing programming changes. Effective April 17th, several basic channels will be transmitted in digital-only format that require special equipment to view. These channels are channels 3 through 6 and 14 through 22. Also beginning April 18th, the Smithsonian Channel, Channel 153, BBC World News, Channel 154, and Inspiration Network, Channel 123, will be added to the digital preferred service tier. And also this evening, if you'll take a look over on the side table, we'd like to congratulate Kendra Belize, a 5th grade student at McChesney Elementary, who is our Student Artist of the Month. And that's all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you, Lori. I'll entertain a motion to approve the bills. Trustee Yo.
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, I present the warrant totaling $252,596.02, reviewed and recommended by the A&F Committee at its earlier meeting this evening, and move to authorize the payment of the warrant.
Second.
Motion made, motion seconded. Is there any discussion? I see none. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Trustee Boland.
Aye.
Tammon.
Aye.
Gentry.
Aye.
Yo.
Aye.
Beck.
Aye.
5 ayes, no nays, 1 absent.
Okay, next we go to administrative reports. First of all, I'd like to welcome our new Community Development Coordinator, Gregory Anderson. And I'd like to welcome the new Superintendent of Public Streets, Colin Simpson. Welcome, guys. I think Tim will have have something to say more at the next meeting. Next, under my report, I would like to nominate Michael Meyer. We have an opening on planning and zoning. So tonight I would like to nominate him, and next meeting we will vote on that. If anybody has any questions of Michael, he is sitting in the audience. We've had this position open for, I don't know, 2-3 months now. So I will nominate him. Raise your hand, Michael, so they can see who you are. And then next week, next meeting, we will vote on it. Next, we come to.
Are you going down to?
Yep, I am going down.
Okay.
I am going down to the podium to make a presentation to Steve Pearson, and I will leave.
Yes, the mayor is going down to the podium. If Chief Pearson would join him there. Welcome this evening.
Thank you.
How are you?
Good.
Very good. We'll do this one first, Steve. Kind of stand over here so we get you. Me either, but, you know. Whereas Chief Steve Pearson has served the residents of North Park Fire Protection District and the village of Machesney Park for close to 30 years, and whereas it is only fitting and proper that he is applauded for his dedication to the fire safety and protection for Machesney Park residents, and whereas Chief Pearson has provided most of the progressive programs in the fire service education for the professional firefighters serving North Park Fire District, and whereas this program has provided Machesney Park residents with the best possible fire protection and fire protection services available. Now therefore, I, Tom Strickland, as village president of Machesney Park, do hereby proclaim February 22nd, 2012 to be Chief Steve Pearson Day. In the village of Machesney Park, urge all citizens applaud Chief Pearson for his dedicated service to North Park Fire Protection District and the residents of the village of Machesney Park. I want to thank you personally. You've done a great job. Also, I know you've seen this before, but we wanted to present it to you. It says, in recognition, and I'll let you guys take a picture tonight. Okay, it says, in recognition of Chief Steve Pearson, for 30 years of dedicated service to the residents of the village of Machesney Park and the North Park Fire Protection District. Job well done. And then it said, presented the 21st, 2012 by the village of Machesney Park. Congratulations and thank you again.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone. I'm truly honored, and it's been a pleasure, and I wouldn't trade it. To do it over, I wouldn't trade a thing. Thank you very much.
While the mayor's taking his seat, if you notice, the date he declared as Steve Pearson Day is tomorrow. So make sure you honk your horn around Machesney Park a lot tomorrow, and when somebody says, why are you honking your horn, say it's for Steve Pearson.
Next, we go to Attorney Tom Green.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a little bit longer report tonight. First, I'll give you my standard report during the period from February 7 to February 21. The Village of Period Court on exactly 66 traffic cases. Now, my second part of my report relates to a task that has been a little bit ongoing and been assigned to me by the corporate authorities, and that is to do provide a memo, and I've handed out a memo, which identifies the mayor's duties that are provided in the state statute and compares those with the mayor's duties that are provided in our ordinance, and then compares those with the village administrator's duties. The reason for this exercise is an important one. As everyone here knows, we have evolved a bit in our personnel department and the way we manage the village's affairs. And with the creation by this board of the village administrator position, we have moved into a situation, if it were in the private sector, I would describe it as a chairman of the board, and then a chief executive officer, where this is the board, the mayor would be the chairman of the board, and the new village administrator would be the chief executive officer, basically managing the day-to-day operation, oversight of staff, and so forth. That's a fairly new ordinance and was presented at committee tonight. You see we're still tweaking a little bit of the job descriptions for the community development department, planning and zoning department, and so forth. And that's all a very natural process, and I think it's a very good process. The questions, though, then became, okay, we've created this new structure. How does the mayor's office dovetail in with that? And I think it becomes obvious that there's a need to do this exercise when you remember that the mayor's duties are the same. Basically, there's been some minor changes, but are basically the same today as they were in the early 1980s when this ordinance was originally passed. And obviously, the village has grown considerably since 1984. 1981, I think, was incorporation, but ultimately, I think this ordinance was put in place a little bit later. And I will point out, if you look at our code, the mayor's duties are encompassed, at least in the mayor's provision, encompassed in about 3 sentences, maybe 4. So I think this is an opportunity to see what the statute says, what the mayor's ordinance says, what the village administrator duties are, and make sure that where are they in conflict, and how can that be corrected? And I think the how can that be corrected comes as the next step after I talk a little bit today, identifying what the issues are, then moving forward with an amendment to the mayor's duties. I think there's an opportunity to broaden those duties, to make those duties more in partnership with the tasks that are performed by the village administrator, and articulate sort of a broader spectrum of what the mayor does in these times now that it's been going on 30 years since we've been incorporated. So I emailed to everyone, but I didn't get it emailed out until today, and I apologize that it came so late, but I handed it all out to you folks today, and you should have it on your desk. And it's probably easiest to go through the memo, although you do have this spreadsheet, which you can compare statutory duties, mayor's duties, and village administrator's duties, and then some suggested ways to make those mesh better. I think what I'll do is go through the memo that's on your desk. Statutory duties of the mayor. Some of these are antiquated, some of these are a bit dated, and you'll see the ones that are. Generally, the statute provides that the president or mayor, as the chief executive officer of the village, perform all duties that are prescribed by law, including how it's described and defined in any village's ordinances. Take care that the laws are charged with the responsibility to make sure those laws and ordinances are faithfully carried out. Let's skip over some of this. The mayor is to annually give sort of a State of the Union address, State of the Village address, which they generally do. The mayor provides giving oaths. The mayor presides at these meetings. There's a provision about removing officers. Although the way we're structured, we're mostly staff and not identified as officers, so that's a little bit antiquated and doesn't quite fit with the way we structured our ordinances and our personnel policy. Interestingly, the mayor or president may release any person imprisoned for a violation of municipal ordinance. They may grant clemency to